About 1 in 3 Americans have a tattoo. That demonstrates the stigma isn't what it once was. We wanted to look into the psychology of why one gets a tattoo. Your tattoo may be saying more than you think. They deliver a message without saying a word. The Tattoo Arts Festival showcases how the art form has evolved. The lines are more intricate, but is the story?
So I always knew that I wanted to get a tattoo of my cat. His name was Salad. So I was like, it's permanent, it's on my body forever, I can always carry him with me.
Maybe not every story is such a powerful expression. And perhaps over time, a tattoo is not as transformative as one thought it would be.
It did not make me cool and attractive, which I thought was gonna happen.
Image, story, inclusion. There are all kinds of reasons people are eager to ink.
I think it was a taboo for a long time, and people like to get something that is controversial.
Not as controversial as it once was. Tattoo is now mainstream in America.
I do mostly organic shapes.
I love beautiful things, and tattoos are beautiful.
Flowing floral lines are just what Molly Michaels wants, but the real meaning here goes beyond the ink. She has scars from cutting when she was experiencing difficult times many years ago. She's since become an art therapist and understands the psychology behind her first tattoo.
I created these scars myself, so now I want to make a choice to redefine them. It's not necessarily meant to cover the scar, it's more meant to beautify it and to memorialize that was a part of who I am, and now I'm in a state of transformation.
Okay, so what would be the highest point for the tattoo, you think?
In a world where people are connected digitally, Tetiana Zakaluk enjoys helping people connect in person. Is what you're saying that you feel the tattoos kind of help as an icebreaker or something?
Yes, we can communicate with words, but visual language is much more powerful.
Dan Brooks got this barn swallow 20 years ago to represent a writing style.
When I was that age, I was like, I'm gonna be somebody, but I'm not anybody yet. And so I think getting a tattoo is a way to try to imprint an identity on yourself when you don't really have one.
Dan wrote about his experience in the New York Times Magazine.
Getting a tattoo may be a way for your past self to dominate your present self, but getting sick of your tattoo is a way for your present self to betray your past. If you landed at Normandy and you got a tattoo in France, that's way cooler than a tattoo that's this is from when I was a graphic designer in Milwaukee. So I think there are exceptions, but I do not feel that I earned my tattoos. When we all got them together, they became a symbol of youth, which is a substantially less fun symbol to have around when you are old.
The oldest person with a tattoo, Otzi the Iceman, and he has 61 tattoos. He's discovered buried beneath an alpine glacier near the Austrian-Italian border in 1991. He's 5,300 years old, making his tattoos the oldest on record. In ancient times, tattoos are a sign of achievement or membership, not your personal statement. In early America, whalers get tattoos, then Civil War soldiers, circus performers, prisoners, all dangerous environments. In the early 20th century, it's associated with criminality. Dr. Rami Gabriel is Associate Professor of Psychology at Columbia College. His students often ask what he thinks of tattoos. What could a teen possibly be going through that compares to being a sailor, a mafioso, or a prisoner?
Well, they feel very alienated from the mainstream culture, possibly. And so they want a social group like we all do, And this social group, which is on the edges, has to differentiate itself from the other social groups.
In the 1930s, when the Social Security number is introduced, a large number of people get their number tattooed. During World War II, many sailors get them, while Holocaust prisoners are forced to get tattooed with identification numbers. Tattoos decline again during the more conservative 1950s. Then, starting in the rebellious 1960s, a tattoo renaissance, everyone from rock stars to peace activists.
And it's other members of that group who can see that tattoo and recognize how they're positioning themselves within society.
And it offers a commitment. Of course, one doesn't need a tattoo to remain committed, and a tattoo doesn't ensure you'll always fulfill that commitment. In the end, you can always have it removed. Lasers have been used for decades, but they're getting more effective. Removery is a chain with 130 studios in the U.S. Removal isn't all about regret. Half the clients are here, like Jeff Aaron, to make room for a new tattoo. Jeff got a butterfly tattoo to honor his son's rare form of epilepsy called Dravet syndrome.
I wanted to go a little bit bigger and a little bit bolder and something a little bit more personal. I think the portraits I'll end up doing of my son will be my son and I, just so people have an idea of who I'm working for.
Alrighty.
It could take a dozen visits, and getting one removed cost Jeff several $100s, much more than what he paid for the tattoo.
I'm a huge fan of tattoos, even though I have 0 tattoos.
Dr. Josh Weitz is Chief Medical Officer of Removery.
Originally, if you had a tattoo that perhaps you didn't like, or it was having a problem medically, you may actually need to have it surgically removed. And now, for at least the last decade, we've had the PicoWay laser, which is, in my opinion, the kind of best-in-class device for safe, effective laser tattoo removal without the risk of all of those unwanted side effects.
The research on tattoo and tattoo removal is preliminary, but the Washington Post reports tattoo inks have been recalled 18 times because of contamination during the past 2 decades. A report from the American Society of Microbiology shows 35% of tattoo inks in the U.S. are contaminated with bacteria. Another study shows tattoos increase blood cancer risk by 20%.
Hematology and oncology.
Dr. Kenneth Carson is Associate Professor of Medicine at Northwestern University. He says while results are preliminary, the results about tattoo removal caught his attention.
Your risk of developing lymphoma later in life actually goes up when you remove a tattoo.
And why would that be?
Well, the authors describe it, and mind you, this is largely speculative. The authors describe it as being due to release of chemicals or changing the chemical properties of that ink and turning it into something that's even more carcinogenic when you're lasering it and exposing it to high heat.
"1935 is the year my grandfather was born." Satisfying feeling once it's done. Yeah.
People give many different reasons for getting a tattoo: commitment, meaning, artistic expression, spirituality. But all of these concepts exist beyond the ink.
It's better to make something and have the canvas be outside of you so that you can walk away from it, so that you can go on and make something else. The indignity has not set in, but it will. The rest of us will keep our fading, spreading tattoos and let them remind us that our past and present selves are not always in accord. You are not the same person you were when you got that dolphin. Yet here you are in the same body, dealing with the memories the other guy left behind.
The FDA has an online fact sheet regarding health and tattoos. It's called Think Before You Ink Tattoo Safety.